Lots of people coming in, joining the YouTube thing. Hey, Brenda, I see you. I just unmuted you. Can you say hi? Oh, there you are. I can hear you already.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Good. And we may have a lot more people in here than we normally do in our digital open houses, so we probably still want to keep people kind of muted if we can. I don't even know how to do that anymore. I'm so used to having somebody else do all this busy work. What do you think of the backdrop? Isn't that awesome? Zoom is fun. Let's see. So there's one coming in. Hey, Gloria. All right. So people are coming in. Again, with Zoom, you should come in. You should be muted right away, I think. There's a chat function, so it's a little bit different than using YouTube, what we've done in the past. There's a Zoom chat box. You should be able to go ahead and put stuff in there. I'll be monitoring that too, so if you have any questions during the time, you can go ahead and enter in that question in the chat, or you can unmute your line and just start talking. That's pretty easy to do. Just making sure I'm cleaning up my desktop here.
Good morning, Mr. Fine.
Good morning, Mrs. Frana. How are you?
I am good.
Oh, that's interesting. Cool.
I'm vacationing, so it's all good.
Yeah, right. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Looks like you're already at Indianapolis.
Yeah, doesn't it look cool? I felt pretty excited about that. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of kids behind me sitting really still. I don't even know how this thing works, like this thing. So
crazy.
Yeah. So we got lots to do today. It's coming up on 10 o'clock, just a little bit before. So just so y'all know, I'm gonna record this conversation. Interesting. It says stop recording, which makes me think it is recording.
It says recording on mine.
Oh, cool. Then this whole thing is being recorded. Maybe I can edit that out later so this whole bantering thing isn't a part of this for everybody to see. But in the meantime, like I said before, if you weren't with us, there's a chat option. So on the bottom of Zoom, you should be able to see a little chat button. If you press that, you should be able to enter in a chat. That's probably the best way to raise questions during this conversation so that it's not disturbing the audio. But if you have a question and we get to a point where there's a discussion on something, feel free to unmute yourself, and just if you have a microphone, you can just start talking. If you want to turn your camera on, you can. There's nothing wrong with that. Hey, Jenny. Holy cow, I haven't seen you for years. There you are. You look just like Jenny. All right. Everybody remember Jenny Hume? She was in youth ministry like 40 years ago, and she's then went on to, look at what is that on the wall? I don't even know what that is on the wall. Something. Oh, you're doing 4-H stuff.
4-H. Yes.
Yeah. So Jenny's a veteran in youth ministry and left the field to go do important things like motherhood, which happens to a lot of folks. So not me, fortunately. Okay. I mean, fortunately for my children, probably. All right. So let's just go ahead and begin. We're going to just jump through this real quick, if you don't mind. So like I said, if you have any questions, go ahead and jump in, either raise your hand or type them in the chat. Former professors say editing the recording is not possible. Just a heads up. Thanks, Kelly. Really depressing. All right, moving forward. All right, so here's what we're going to talk about today. Just by nod of heads, can you all see the PowerPoint? Nice. Thanks for the nod of head, Brenda. You're very good at that. So we're going to do a lot of really exciting Administrivia. We're going to talk about like forms and paperwork and everything everybody's excited about. We're going to talk about youth formation, chaperone formation, nothing really new there, and then some other updates. Just dusting off the summer cobwebs, getting back into NCYC mode, making sure everybody's kind of keeping pace. And then again, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat box. You can unmute your line and just start talking. Or you can shoot me an email and I'll get back to you later, maybe this weekend or Monday or Tuesday or whenever I feel like it. All right, so here's this Administrivia stuff. We're talking about group size changes because we're coming up really close to another deadline again. It seems like every month there's another deadline that changes things. September 1st was a pretty hard deadline for us. We're going to talk about just to overview what forms you need to make sure you get in. There's more updates on that. There's information we still need to collect from a lot of people. We'll talk about that. Adult safe environment is becoming a headache for a lot of folks, so just want to walk through that process. Rooming lists, I'd like to have those come in by this month. We'll talk about that. Bus assignment and hotel assignments. Okay, ready? Who's excited? All right, one. All right. So group size changes. When we started this thing, the cost of having somebody go to NCYC was $575, and that price was good through June 1st. So anything that we add, so we bought 1,693 spots for our NCYC delegation. We did that at the end of June. So that's how many spots we have. If we have to add spots to that, those spots are now an additional $20 for a total price package of $595. Still, it's a steal. It's a good deal. So $595 after between June 1st and September 1st. Now, that's not the case if we're selling spots from one parish to another, because like I said, the whole Archdiocese is 1,693 spots. So if your group needs to add 2 spots, let me know, and I'll try to connect you with the parish that's trying to sell 2 spots. At that point, we're net zero. We're not adding or subtracting spots from our delegation, so it works out that we can keep that same price. Right now we have, I think, 2 spots on the buy list. A parish is trying to buy 2 spots. They are waiting to see if a parish is going to sell a spot. If there's no parishes that want to sell a spot, they just know they have to pay another $20 to add those spots, and they'll be billed for that in the September invoice. If you reduce your group size, so say you've got 20 spots, but you only need 15, and you reduce that, and I cannot find someone to buy those spots from you, you can forfeit those spots. And at this point, up until September 1st, you get a $100 refund for those spots that you're forfeiting. That gets a bit more complicated. So that's you've already paid $400 on that spot. At this point, you can get $100 of that back before September 1st. After September 1st, there's an additional late fee that's charged by the NFCYM. So the price of a new spot, of a fresh spot, increases another $50 over our original package price, up to $625. Again, we can still add people. It's just it gets a little bit more complicated, as you'll see after September 1st. So that's the $50. That's a substitution fee we pay to the Federation, and I think we get like $10 of that to kind of just make sure our paperwork and everything is lined up. So if you reduce a spot between September 1st and September 30th, you will have paid $575 probably for that spot, and you can get $100 of that $575 back between September 1st and September 30th. After September 30th, there is no refunds. So we are locked in because our money is pretty much being pretty well committed at that point. So this is all kind of spelled out in the group leader handbook, or whatever it's called, the packet that you can find on the group leader website. If you're looking for more details, you can spend some time with that. We will be sending an invoice out in September. I'm starting to clean up those finances right now. So just this morning, I issued the financial assistance credits for all of the people who had financial assistance coming to them in September. So you should be able to log into your group leader portal and see what your group's financial situation is right now. There are some parishes that we have not entered in their June payment yet. It's very possible that they have paid it. I just haven't been able to confirm that with our finance office. So just check that, and if you have paid it and it's not showing as a credit in your group leader portal, let me know and I'll just make sure I confirm that with finance. I've been trying to do that all morning, but the internet's been spinning. Group size changes moving forward. Everything regarding an addition is dependent on whether or not there's room in your hotel or your bus. So at this point, we do have a preliminary bus plan. You'll be seeing a picture of that coming up soon. Buses have finite amount of seats in them, so we can't add 10 more people to a group of 56 and expect you to sit on laps. It's just not going to happen. So, and the hotel rooms have not been assigned yet, but once those get assigned, which I'm hoping to do within the next few weeks, then we're going to have to be dependent on hotel and bus availability. So anything after September 1st, please, if somebody says, can I still go to NCYC? If you're doing a substitution, and they're the same age and gender, like you're replacing a youth male with a youth male, and they're just going to take that person's seat on the bus and their bed in the hotel, that's pretty much a guaranteed option for you. Substitutions are really easy. If you want to do an addition, please let me know just to make sure there's room in a hotel room of that gender and that there's room on your bus. Okay. All forms probably will need to be sent in to us. Some of you still have access to be doing data entry on your end. We've shut off the majority of our groups. Once we process your group, we set that information up to the national database, and then we have two different lists, and in order to maintain integrity in both lists, we turn off your ability to make changes, so that if we make change to one, we make change to both. So you might not be able to change your data anymore. So send all of those forms to us, and we will take care of the data entry moving forward from this point. Okay. Here's just a list of all the forms that you will need to have turned in at some point or another. The individual registration form, if you did all your data entry already, we don't need that. But for late people coming in or substitutions, we will. An Arch Youth Liability Waiver and an Arch Adult Liability Waiver. The rooming list request form. There's also the NFCYM youth form and the NFCYM adult form. In theory, those are going to be coming out next week. Now, I've not heard anything confirming that. The NFCYM was told that they cannot release those forms more than 3 months before the date of NCYC, which has them coming out, they think, about August 15th. As soon as I get those forms or hear anything from the NFCYM regarding that, I will be communicating with you all promptly. So my hope is that we get those to you by next week, so you have some time to get those filled out. We don't have a hard deadline established for when those need to be back, but I think September 15th is a good goal to turn those around once we get them. Now, I will just say this too, as a caveat, it's possible the NFCYM will have changed their mind and decide they don't need forms anymore, in which case that'll be a lot less work for everybody. But we're going to plan that those forms are coming out next week. There's also a lot of safe environment gunk to deal with. We're going to talk about that a little bit later about how to make sure our adults are compliant. But just make sure, just so you know, they have to do the CMG Center for Catholic Mutual Group online training. It replaced Virtus, so they're no longer doing Virtus training. They have to have a background check, which is done as part of that training generally, unless they have a historical background check, and then they don't need to. And they have to do this DHS form, which is an Iowa form. It's a hard copy that needs to be faxed in. All that information's on the form in the package. We'll talk about that in a little bit. All right, so the other thing we need for you to do is review what information is needed. So if you did all your data entry up on the website, we've created this new little tab there in the Group Leader portal. If you click on the Information Needed button, what it'll do is take you to everybody in your group who's missing some information. Some of the common missing information includes birth dates, t-shirt sizes, email addresses, cell phone addresses, emergency contact, preferred name. The preferred name is what appears on their badge. So if it's like Thomas, Tom, Blom, you don't have a Thomas in there or Tom in the preferred name, you've left it blank, it freaks out a little bit. So we have to guess. So even if your preferred name is the same as your first name, make sure you fill in that little blank, or we'll just make up a nickname for you. I don't have the time for that, although it'd be fun. All right, so this just gives you a quick list, and then once you see that information, if you cannot make those changes because we shut off your data access, all you need to do is send me or Jim an email and saying, here's the information that we see you need. It's really easy for us to enter it in once we have it. So this is just the NCYC support teams list, and you see there's a lot of people there who have a lot of information missing. So that's my fault. I got work to do. All right, adult safe environment. Everybody needs to be we need to be 100% compliant by the end of September. That's 7 weeks away. That means we need to actually have an affidavit signed and sent off to Indianapolis. If there is a single adult in our delegation who is not meeting our compliance requirements, the whole group will not get our credentials. So what we do at that point is just dismiss those adults and say, you can't come. So we don't want to get to that point. So I talked about this. They need to do the CMG training that replaces Virtus. Please note, if your people have been active volunteers in your parish for the last 10 years, please do not have them do the new employee volunteer, have them do the returning employee volunteer training. That allows them to keep their historical background check active. If they are new, they click on the new employee volunteer process, and then they'll do a background check as part of that training. This is confusing. You should be able to work with a safe environment coordinator at your parish who can go on and see the status of any of the adults in your community. If you don't know who that safe environment coordinator is, ask your pastor, ask around, or you can contact Lynn Osterhaus in the Office of Protection of Children. Joanne Polden can also help with that. She's had a really busy summer. She's got her second kid getting married this weekend. She had another kid get married 2 weeks ago. So she's been kind of like all over the world. But so anyway, I had to ask Lynn Osterhaus if you don't know who your safe environment coordinator is. If you shoot me an email, I can find out for you too. I just have to ask Lynn. So make sure they have that training done. The background check is part of that training unless they've had the background check done before. The DHS form is a hard copy thing. They need to fill it out, write things in, and then scan that in or fax that to a certain address. And if once that's done, get your safe environment coordinator to tell you the dates of completion of the CMG training and of the background check. And then if you cannot enter that data in your group leader portal again, please let us know as soon as you can, because once dates are entered, that starts the verification process here to make sure everything's good to go. So you can see that when you go to your group leader portal, it flags your adults, and it should show whether they're green, which means compliant, or whether they're red, which means something's missing. Then if something's missing, it should tell you what is missing. So please verify that on your roster page on the group leader portal. At this point, only about 40% of our adults are compliant. That's a failure. That's a big fat F. I'm just lighting the fire, lighting the fire. All right. Good. Everybody's so motivated by that harsh language. Rooming list forms, if you can have these into me by September 1st, that would be awesome. The hotels need their rooming lists by October 1st, and it takes us about a month to put that puzzle together. We're in 5 different hotels, and every group is slated to be in a specific hotel. You'll see that coming up in a little bit. But what I need to do is with some assistance of some helpers, is put everybody into a specific room grouping. If you can put your teenagers in groups of 4, if possible, so 4 youth men in a room, 4 youth women in a room, etc. Keep them gender and youth separate. Obviously, the form helps you do that. If you only have like 3 boys and 3 girls, just put them in groups of 3. If you've got 6 boys and 6 girls, I would prefer you do a group of 4 and a group of 2. That way I take that group of 2 and I'll put them with another group of 2 from hopefully from your same bus. If not from your same bus, just another group in your hotel. We do like adults as much as possible to be in their own bed. We like to have well-rested adult chaperones. So you can put your groups, your adults in groups of 2s. We do have some hotel rooms that have kings with pulled-out couches. You can put 3 adults in there. Then 2 adults will be sharing a bed, but it's a king bed. You need to make a long-distance phone call to talk to a person on the other side. So it's okay to have some separation. They can put a whole wall of pillows in between them and feel like they're in their own twin bed. So that's the only situation I would do that for. If you want to put all of your adults in 2-person groupings, that is absolutely fine. Special situations, married couples do cross that gender barrier. They do purple their rooms. That is okay. I have nothing wrong with married couples looking like married couples. In fact, it's a good reflection to our young people that married people can share their faith together. We can, for medical situations, put a parent with their child in a hotel room. I don't do that openly with everybody, just like every parent can share with their kid, because 4 teens in a room saves us money rather than putting a teen with their parent, which costs more, obviously, for 2 people in a room. If I have 13 girls, can I have 3 groups of 4, a group of 2, and a group of 3? Yes. How was that? That's perfect. If I have 13 girls, but if you have 3 groups of 4, that would be 12. Then you'd have 1 person left over. You can have 3 groups. So if you have 13 girls, you can have 3 groups of 4 and have 1 brave soul left over who's going to be adventurous and go make the best buddies of her life by hanging out with some other people. Or you can do the 2 groups of 4, right? A group of 3 and a group of 2. That works too. And what I would probably do is take that group of 2 and I would pair them up with somebody else. When doing rooming lists, what I really recommend is that you have all of the young people pair up. Everybody finds a singular buddy. And so you get them grouped in pairs of 2 if you can, and then you just put those pairs together. Rather than having them try to find groups of 4, it gets a bit more complicated and political then. At least this way, everybody gets to have a buddy that they're staying with. They get to know somebody who they're sharing a room with. And if you want to do a 3 group, that's fine. I just don't want to see this group of 13 turn into 3 groups of 3 and 1 group of 4. That's what I'd rather avoid. Thanks for the idea, Maria. All right, priests typically get their own room. It just works better for a lot of reasons. But if you have a priest going along and he is okay sharing a room with a brother priest, first of all, there has to be another priest or deacon in that hotel, which is not always the case. But if you've got a priest who's open to sharing a room, please let me know, because that does save us money. A priest staying by themselves costs the diocese about $900. So we want to make sure we use as many beds in a room as possible. Okay. And the Hyatt's kind of a weird exception because you can put 6 people in a room in the Hyatt. It's the only hotel where we can do that, and so that's Waterloo is the only group staying at the Hyatt. So Annie's going to be able to put those people in 6-person room groupings, but she is already aware of that. So here's the bus map. So we have, I think, 31 buses at this point, and you can see there's a little bit of puzzle about how things go together. And if you can't make sense of this, no worries. I'm going to be changing the group leader portal soon so you can see who you're assigned on a bus with. Bus capacity is 56, sort of. The Windstar does have a few 57 passenger buses that would be taking up every seat, and it's kind of a lot more congested. Not ideal for a long trip. But for groups that it just makes sense that we have to put 57 people on a bus, we're going to be using those. So at this point, I've got 4 of those being used. Usually the rule is that I will not assign your group to a bus if you have to drive more than 45 minutes to get to a pickup site. Most of our buses, you don't have to drive more than 15 or 20 minutes to a pickup site. It's actually pretty convenient. The puzzle went together pretty easily this year. I will be sending out communications soon that's going to assign bus bosses. A bus boss is simply the one who is tasked with making sure the right people are on the bus all the time when they need to be doing a head count, organizing bus activities, etc., just making sure the bus is functioning well, and communicating with the driver and me about any issues. Loading and departure times is determined by the bus company. I will tell them where the bus pickup site will be. I will tell them where they need to be in Indianapolis, and they will tell me what loading time and departure time. And then we double check that math about 6 times. But that's determined by them. We should have that all out to you by the October chaperone meetings. Usually October is where we start sharing all that information. Arrival plans are a bit different this year than they have been in the past. Rather than every bus going to the Wyndham for a mini rally, we're just going to have you directly go right to your hotel direct. That allows you to leave a couple hours later for some of you on the east side. The ones on the west side who have the furthest trip, it doesn't really save you much time, other than you're not going to go to your mini rally. You'll be greeted at your hotel by a hotel coordinator, somebody whose job it is to tend to you and make sure you're okay. They will get you your room keys and your credentials. They will get you all situated with everything you need. So you can have a few minutes to freshen up, and then they'll do a quick meeting with all the group leaders at their hotel so everybody can know who's there and introduce you to the services of the property. And then you'll get on your bus pretty early, like between 5 and 5:30. Once you get on your bus, you'll be handed a boxed lunch from Jimmy John's. That's your supper for the night. Then we'll get you downtown to Lucas Oil Stadium ASAP because For King and Country is playing that night. And I know groups want to get there early. So we're going to try to have Jimmy John's deliver a half hour earlier than normal, just to make that all work. All right, so that's the plan. So Thursday afternoon is always the most chaotic part. But we're trying to do divide and conquer. So rather than put everybody in one room, you're going right to your hotel where you will be treated like royalty. Or just a really cool group leader. Hotel assignments, the north and west part of the diocese, pretty much everything west of Waterloo, everything north of Waterloo is pretty much staying at the Wyndham Hotel. We have 28 groups staying there. It's our flagship property. This is the largest hotel we have. 16 groups are on the Cedar Rapids area, kind of extending out from Cedar Rapids, are staying at the Crown. That's kind of where they've been in the past. Waterloo is staying at the Hyatt. There's eight east-ish groups, like if drawing a circle around Manchester, kind of those groups between Waterloo and Dubuque, are staying at the Wingate Hotel, which is a nice property. And the 5 Dubuque groups are staying at the Courtyard, which is our smallest place, and everybody fits perfectly into that. So that's kind of how everybody's assigned at this point. Not sure if that's where you were or not last year, but that's kind of where we have you slated to go this year. All the hotels are fine. None of them are condemned. So moving forward out of Administrivia into what can we do now, just reminding you of this mantra that the most important day of NCYC is Monday, November 25th, the day after you get back. So everything we're talking about now is really about getting young people to a safe, experience of NCYC. But the whole reason we do NCYC is to get your young people more engaged into youth ministry when they get back to your parish. So everything we're doing now is really trying to invite them into a deeper relationship with Jesus and their parishes or the Church Universal. So everything you can do to reinvest in that is helpful. So we do have 3 prep sessions posted to the Group Leader website. We recommend that you do some kind of formation experiences with your kids in September, October, and November. It's just a good way to get together and not talk about trading items or t-shirt designs or fundraisers or bills payment or forms due, but just get together and talk about where they are in their faith. The session plans we have are a little bit meaty. There's a lot of information there, so please read through them and just discern what you think is the right amount to share with your kids and challenge them. You know your kids better than we do. So these are resources. Take them, adapt them, do what you want. Use the reflection questions. If you're using the participant journal that's been created for you, again, you can get that either by just letting me know. I can send you a PDF version of it, or you can have us print them out for you. They're $3 a piece if we print them. That includes shipping. So we will print them and ship them to you for $3 a piece. Then we'll bill you for those in the next invoice. It's pretty slick and easy. Anyway, if you're using the journal, there are pages that match these preparation themes in the journal. If you don't do the prep sessions, it's not a problem. Kids can still look through and do some reflections on their way on the bus. So it works either way. And then I just really challenge you to start thinking, what do you want to do in December? What do you want to do in January? What are you going to do with these young people beyond NCYC? So start thinking now. If you're not the youth minister in charge of your parish, start working with them to start coming up with a real action plan for how do we engage kids beyond NCYC. If it's just an NCYC experience and then that's it, that's kind of boring. Not excited about that at all. Let's not waste the effort of NCYC. Let's take advantage of it and make it helpful. We'll talk more about that a little bit. I do encourage you to have, if you can schedule a parent participant meeting sometime between August 15th or whenever we get the NFCYM forms, in like the middle of September. So those, I'm proposing that you try to plan a meeting coming up here for late August. Early September might be easier after the whole first day of school thing kicks off. Taking a picture, Jenny? That's cool. Hi. Okay, so here's what I recommend. And you can, this will be showing up in the notes that'll be attached once this presentation's over with too. But just 6 simple things to do. Do prayer and introductions. Do your business session. Collect final payments. Have the parents right there sign the NFCYM forms. Make sure they fill in everything: signatures, initials, everything. They don't need to be notarized. Don't worry about that. But just make sure they're complete, because usually the biggest problem is people send in forms to us and we have to send them back because you missed an initial or something. You can determine group trading items, whatever, and determine a local t-shirt if you're doing those things. Also, for those of you who are kind of new into the system, we are sponsoring 2 dioceses this year, the Diocese of San Bernardino and the Archdiocese of Anchorage. We're trying to raise $10,000 for each diocese. Their cost per person is about $1,500 a person to come out to NCYC. It's even more than that for the indigenous people of Alaska. So we've picked those 2 dioceses to partner with. We have been excited about that relationship. It's been awesome to have the thought of Iowan kids being able to mingle with kids from San Bernardino, California, and Alaskan populations, just to talk about what faith is like in their unique environment. So we've already got some money. We'll talk about this a little bit more later. But here's a chance for you with parents in the room to say, you know, your kid's going to have this awesome experience. If you can kick in $10 or $50 or $5,000 to make a real difference in the life of a kid who couldn't do it without our help, that would just be kind of a nice opportunity for you to do maybe a collection. Some of you are doing like fundraisers and things specific to that partner diocese thing, so you can omit that if you've already raised money. Cool. Set a meeting schedule for September, October, November to do those preparation sessions, and then have the parents and their kids talk a little bit about their faith. What are your hopes for NCYC? How can we, or you, how can we as a family, or how can you individually better prepare spiritually for NCYC? So what could we be doing more of? Maybe we should try to get to Mass every weekend. Maybe we should pray a rosary once a week. Maybe we can start reading the scriptures before we go to Mass. Whatever it is to help us get more ready for this faith experience. And then if you can get your pastor to come out and bless your group, that'd be awesome. This is kind of a cool thing to do. All right. Formation information, we do have 8 chaperone formation sessions. These are trainings. There's 7 of them. This is for every chaperone who wants to come, but I would really lean heavily on people who have never been to NCYC before. If they've been to Indianapolis, a lot of this training is going to be comparable, or if not 90% the same to what was done last year. It's always good to have a refresher because it's been a couple years. But if you've got a chaperone who's brand new, this will be really helpful. I think they will appreciate having gone. So that's what we're trying to do. Each show starts at 7 and it ends at 8:30-ish. Okay, so this is a good idea. I would encourage all of you to be present at one of these. And if you can let me know which one you're coming to, I will try to bring your group's t-shirts to you at that point so you can have them to distribute before we go to NCYC. All right, more on that in the September update. Also, Chaperon Formation, those of you who've accepted the challenge to complete the Call to Accompany program, this is a way for you to build up a team of faith mentors. It's more than just being a chaperone. A chaperone just keeps 2 rules in play. The 2 rules everybody knows: nobody dies, nobody gets conceived. That's what the role of a chaperone is, making sure kids are safe and not making stupid decisions. A faith mentor is something more than that. A faith mentor is someone who's going to be trained to walk with young people, help them explore the experience of NCYC, and help them internalize what's going on and share that out loud with their small group. So if you're utilizing the faith mentor model, where you're doing small group discussions and stuff at NCYC, which I wholly recommend, this is a great training and it's free. And not only is it free, you can actually make money doing this program. Let me show you how. So if you get together 6 adults, they don't all have to be NCYC chaperones, but there's 6 adults who care about loving your teenagers during or after NCYC. You get those 6 people together, have each of those 6 adults watch these videos. Each pillar is, I think, a series of like 4 videos. They're really easy to watch. They're pretty engaging. Each one has some reflection questions that goes with them. Have them watch the videos and complete the reflection questions. You can have them send their responses to you, or Melanie Vobrup and Cresco created a Google form where everybody just goes out and just types in their stuff, and then she can see it all as it's coming in. You collect their responses, and then you just type up a summary. What was your group thinking as you went through these pillars? What challenged you? What was exciting? What recommendations do you have for your group moving forward? And then have a discussion with them about all of that stuff. With your volunteers, complete all 3 pillars before NCYC. Yes, you can be one of the 6 adults, Brenda. Well, okay. How often do you hear that, right? Okay, good. So continue learning for you and your parish staff or core team. So this, beyond just your 6 chaperones or the 6 adults, for you specifically as like the leader or the architect behind this, as the coordinator of youth ministry, just to dive a bit deeper into some of these other 5. The first 3 pillars are probably the most universally applied, and then it gets kind of specific, and this is kind of more for you to complete. So watch those videos, write your own responses to the reflection questions, and then you send those summary reports from pillars 1 to 3, and you send your personal reflections to me. That way I get to kind of see what's going on out there and how you guys are doing with all this. And as soon as I get that stuff, boom, $225 credit for your group. So we'll issue that as a credit statement. If that comes in prior to August 30th, it'll be a deduction off your invoice. So you'll just have to pay that $225 less than what you will have normally been billed. If you don't get this done until October 28th, you will just get a $225 credit that'll be returned to you in December. Unless, whatever. So you can use that $225 to subsidize a kid going, pay for a chaperone to go, buy your group some journals, whatever you want to do with it, or you can get that money after the fact and use it to invest in some other youth ministry formational resources, like maybe picking up, I don't know, a subscription to something, okay? So this is our way of using NCYC, again, to keep you focused on what you can do back at your parish. Okay, that's kind of being a consistent theme for me. This is really about building up the infrastructure for strong youth ministry. Other fun things, here's our t-shirt design. Thanks to Lori Kepler at Strawberry Point for the design. So the front has got a heart, it's talking about being blessed, and then this chain that's broken on the sleeve. Just a couple weeks ago, we celebrated St. Peter in chains. One of the ideas of St. Peter being in chains, and we think that goes back to the Acts reference where St. Peter was in prison and the angels came and undid his chains. And that was an early representation of Christianity, was the chains being broken to represent our being freed from the bounds of sin. So it's not like we're shackled. we are limitless. We are able to break free. So I love that concept of the chains. Also, it'd make a good sleeve tat if you're interested in taking this further. Just go ahead and the whole arm, just get the chains on your tats. All right, and then the back that we give ourselves. That's the end of it. So blessed, broken, given. The 3 themes for NCYC reflected. By the way, just so you know, you're gonna have to bulk up a little bit. Get some strong muscular arms and some tight abs to wear this shirt. It looks like whoever that modeling that, whatever that artificial character is, looks a little bit healthier than the rest of our delegation. So anyway, just so you know, form-fitting, I don't know if that's true. All right, other updates as far as the partner dioceses go. Like I said, this is something that's kind of cool. If you don't mind, if you're collecting money, all you need to do is send a check to the Archdiocese, and in the memo, write NCYC Diocesan Partnership. It doesn't have to come to me, it just comes to the Archdiocese. The finance office gets them and deposits them. If you want to send them to me, just with a note saying that it's going where it's going for, that's helpful. We do not invoice for this because it's for you to decide to give. If your parish cannot make this happen, we are not going to punish you in any way. So it's no way related at all to whether or not your group is going to NCYC. This is here's a chance for us to really make a difference in the Universal Church. I'm stoked about it. There is a video on the NCYC page of the diocese too, where the kids from San Bernardino are talking about how excited they are to be in this partnership with us. And then a few teens from our diocese, like 15 of our teens, will be selected to share in a dinner with the kids from San Bernardino and Anchorage on the Friday night at NCYC. So we'll be doing actually an intercultural mixer kind of thing. At this point, we've collected over $1,000, which is awesome. The goal is it's $10 a person. We'd like to be able to see 17,000 come in. So we're a far cry away from that goal, but that's kind of our hope that we can do that. Otherwise, there's other sources of funding that we will use to bail that out. But yeah, I think to invite your kids to take some ownership over sharing this experience with kids who just really could not do it without their help, that would be kind of awesome. So thanks so much for everything you're doing to bring that about. A few other things real quick. A couple Faith Formation Leader events. If you haven't seen these or heard about these or signed up for these yet, new and nearly new gathering here at the Archdiocese, August 20th. If you are in your first 1 or 2 or 3 years of Faith Formation, you just want a refresher. This is just a good day to get together, mingle with other Faith Formation leaders who are new, meet the Archdiocesan Faith Formation Division, as well as other staff here at the Pastoral Center, get questions answered, explore topics, tour the ERC, Education Resource Center, etc. Otherwise, our big fall gathering is on August 27th. That's going to be at St. Mary Lane Waverly, and we're focusing on forming missionary disciples. It's kind of a theme we've been hitting a lot lately. So we're going to talk more specifically. It's going to be a very pragmatic day about real specific resources you can use to help grow your competency for your catechists and other volunteers. So that's going to be a great day. You can register for both of those at dbqarch.org/events, dbqarch.org/events. All right. Also, if you're interested in this, one of the things I heard last May at our youth ministry gathering was that a lot of people didn't feel like they had the tools they needed to be successful in youth ministry and wanted to explore that a bit more. So I started forming these little mini macs. These are just 4 months, just real quick, 4 hours each month, just to get together, for 1 day a month and kind of meet over lunch and do some talks about youth ministry, introduce you to some resources and some documents that might help you out. We got one starting on Monday in Bill Smokehouse in Independence, and then we've got another one starting next Thursday, so like a week and a half. That'll be meeting kind of in the northeast part of the diocese. We do ask if you're interested, just to commit to all 4 sessions. It's going to be better for the group cohort that way. And we'll probably look at starting these up, and again, one more in winter and another one maybe in spring. As much as people want to get together and talk youth ministry, I'm happy to go out and meet with you and kind of coach those conversations a bit. Additionally, Teens Encounter Christ, if you haven't seen this yet, Teens Encounter Christ Tech Retreats are open to juniors and seniors, so 11th to 12th graders. Please be very deliberate about 2 things. I'd like to see you all work hard to invite young people to these experiences. Tech is an amazingly powerful retreat. We're putting a little bit more energy into the tech movement going on in the diocese this year. Our tech council is kind of jazzed about moving forward with that. And one of the things we're trying to do too is further engage those of you in the parishes to also be a part of serving in this tech experience. So my challenge to everybody who's a paid youth minister in the Archdiocese is to try to find 1 tech weekend per year that you can serve on. So we'd love to have you on a tech team. It's typically a Friday night through a Monday night. So the team gathers on Friday night. The kids show up on Saturday. I know it's a weekend, and I know you're busy, but this is a great opportunity for you to connect with the diocesan church, and it's a great opportunity for you to offer something for your teens. And they're more likely to go if you're going to be there. So if you pick a weekend where this works for you, here's the dates. This is good stuff. And so juniors and seniors this year, and we've got 5 dates. So pick the one that works best for you if you can. That's my challenge. Of course, you're not going to get fired, and we're not going to close your parish if you don't do it, but it's the right thing to do, and God is watching. Okay. Also, I just got back, when was it? A week ago from A Life on the Edge, Colorado, 2019. And I went on this trip thinking, I don't know if I'm going to do this again. And the whole thing just clicked. And I'm overwhelmed by the positivity of it. We took like cream of the crop kids who have had faith experiences, kids who were looking for something deeper. We had 18 teens and 6 adults who were on this trip. And we just pushed the snot out of them, and they just met every challenge and thrived in this experience. So it's a 9-day challenging experience that forms them catechetically, physically, and spiritually. There's not much else like it. So I'm exploring whether or not to do another Life on the Edge Colorado 2020. The cost is about $7,000 for a group of 8. Now that's a 9-day experience. Just the lodging and meals alone are $400 to $500. So that's where that cost comes from per person. The bus is another $200 a person. So you start doing this math, and the rafting experience is about $100 a person. So it just kind of adds up. That's where that price point comes from. This is a great thing to invest in from a parish or from a regional perspective, to pick 6 of the best and brightest kids in your parishes or your cluster, and really invest in them. It would not be inappropriate at all for a parish to float the cost for your squad, because the hope is these kids will come back with a functional ability to talk about their faith, do peer evangelization, and thrive in college once their faith starts getting challenged outside of the safety net of your parish community. So that's what we're building them for. It's not a service trip. It's really an interpersonal leadership, discipleship formation. So we're exploring this. I really want to see some interest happen in the next month before I decide to go or not go on this. The 2 groups that were part of this with us last week have both pretty much said they're really excited about doing it again. So that's kind of a lean in the right direction. Satisfaction rate was high. So, and look at the photos. It's cool. Man, look awesome. All right. Middle school rally proposal. We're also looking at doing a combined event between Davenport and Dubuque, somewhere in the Iowa City, Cedar Rapids area for a middle school event. This would be like a youth jam replacement. We're looking to do something in the fall of 2020. So opposite NCYC. There's a survey link here, and again, this will be coming out in the notes, so you don't need to necessarily do this now. And we have any time between now and middle of September to complete the survey. We just want your feedback. Are you interested in this event? What do you think the right price point would be? What's important to you in middle school ministry? If you are not the one in your parish who's responsible for middle school ministry, if you can just forward this link on. We'll be sharing this invitation at those 2 Faith Formation Leader gatherings I already talked about as well. We just want to see if this is a good thing for us to invest our time in doing. Blah, 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 blah. Patty made some comments in here too. I'm not sure if you can all see the group chat, but Patty said 2 meetings ahead of tech too. Yeah, so if you want to serve on a tech team, there are at least 2 meetings before the tech. Thank you, Patty, for that. And low tech, she says the Colorado trip is the best trip experience ever. Of course. Of course it is. Of course it is. Another option for you is Totus Tuus. If you haven't done this yet, this is kind of taken off like wildfire across the diocese. I think we had 28 parishes served this summer, high reviews. People are loving it. It's a summer week-long program for grades 1 to 6, and again at night for groups grades 7 to 12. A team of 4 high faith-filled, high-energy folks come out to your parish and put the program on. It's not cheap. Costs about $2,500 for the week. See, by comparison, you can go whitewater rafting for $7,000. I'm just saying, not that it's a competition, but wow. Anyway, contact Joanne if you're interested in Totus Tuus. We do have limited teams available, so we can't serve every parish or cluster in the diocese. But call Joanne if you're interested in learning more about Totus Tuus. Here's just a list of other possible things, and here's a good chance for you too in the comment section. If there's something you're doing with your group outside of one of these kind of concepts, things to look forward for summer of 2020, because that's immediately after NCYC, and you should be taking these NCYC kids and plugging them into something else. So ND Vision happens at Notre Dame. It's a real good, again, it's another personal leadership formation program, kind of like the Life on the Edge experience, except for not physical. It's interpersonal, really great small group leader, really authentic Catholic doctrine. It happens in Notre Dame. There's only 4 weeks in the summer, and they tend to fill up, so you have to sign up for that pretty quick. Otherwise, there's service trips like Catholic Heart Work Camp, which happens in Calmer. Not sure if Patty's planning on doing that. I think you're planning on doing that again next summer. So that was a pretty big, cool story for us in the Archdiocese. Also, is Young Neighbors in Action happening across the country, and there's other service group does a service trip too. The Steubenville conferences that happen all over the United States. One Bread, One Cup is happening in 2 different places. It's liturgical formation for kids who are excited about getting involved in liturgical ministries. It's a great week-long program on that. There's also some program called Youth in Theology and Ministry happens up in Collegeville, Minnesota, where the kids go up for 2 weeks in the summer. They learn college-level theology, and then they have to come back for the school year, and they actually have to be active in some kind of ministry program. Then they go back for a second 2 weeks in the summer following to do some more high-level theological learning, and then they keep being active beyond that point. So if you got kids who are really excited, high potential, and maybe they want to go into youth ministry in the future, that'd be a great place to plug them in as well. So if there's other ideas, other things you might want to be looking at doing that, like these are big, like packaged events. Of course, none of these can even compete with what you do locally. Everything you do locally is going to be much more stellar to these experiences. But here's just a list of possibilities, and I'll get more of these out to you on the bus ride back from NCYC, so you and your young people can actually start doing some seriously planning. What do we want to do next when we get back from NCYC? All right, that's the end of my spiel. So if there's any questions, throw them in the chat, unmute yourself, whatever. That would be fine with me. Any questions from the group? Whew. Wow, I'm tired hearing me talk. I can't imagine how y'all feel. So questions, again, you can unmute your line or send something in the chat. I'll wait a few seconds. There's not much of a delay here like there is on YouTube. And this recording, I'm hoping to be able to get it posted up to YouTube so that you can go back and watch it again. I'll also be posting an outline of the presentation so you can read through and see, and I'll try to mark on that presentation what minute on the video that discussion happens. So if you want to go learn more about forms, because everybody likes that, I'll tell you what minute in the video you can go look at the forms. Well, I am not seeing a lot of hand motions indicating chats or questions coming this way. So if there are no questions, we can go ahead and say goodbye, farewell, so long, hope we meet again. We'll do this again in September. We'll probably try a different format other than Zoom, which is too bad because these kids behind me are going to be bored. So in the meanwhile, thanks for all you do. Any questions, shoot me an email. Any group size changes, let me know as soon as possible so we can get those processed for you. Otherwise, thanks for all you do with NCYC and everything else you do for the young people and your parishes. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye-bye.